You're listening to Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Sponsored by Treebor Soft Mints.
Absolute Radio.
I feel the whole ambience of the studio has changed today.
Why?
Well, there's an ambience strike for a start.
Oh.
No, because...
Do you not like the candles I put out?
Well, they're all right, but where'd you get them from? Ann Summers. I'm not liking the shape.
You don't like the shape?
No, I don't like the shape. I find that unnerving.
Why has the ambience changed?
Well, because a very on Gareth thing happened this morning. He sort of registered the fact that Emily was wearing a see-through top today. And one of the things...
the listeners all worried. It's not totally... I haven't turned up my underwear.
All worried. I think the webcam has just exploded from men all over. No, but... what I like about Gareth,
today.
he doesn't have that kind of,
Creepiness.
blokey, ooh, look at her about him. But today, a terrible shadow went across him. You know when you're on the beach on holiday and a shadow goes across you, you think, no, it was so lovely and warm, and now it's cold and stark. It was like that.
I'm not made of stone.
No.
I'm flesh and blood.
You're just happy to see me.
He didn't... all he said was, I took my jacket off.
Oh, no. Do we have to relive the moment?
And he just went, oh.
Yeah, well, exactly. What do you mean all he said?
Exact sound.
It was the slight
That's the
bead of
exact
saliva
sound.
in the corner of the mouth.
I just noticed.
We discourage that on this, you know what I mean?
mean?
Bear in mind, the average Absolute listener is a 38-year-old man in a black T-shirt. And
Saying, where's Whitesnake?
They don't need encouraging to that. So we're discouraging.
Okay.
We're what is that new kind of man that they're talking about in the papers?
Oh, 4D man.
4D, four-dimensional.
Yeah.
Who doesn't...
Gareth was very four-dimensional this morning.
He was certainly three-dimensional from where I was sitting. So anyway, if you want to text us about anything this morning, we're on 8, 12, 15. Yes, it's a silly number, but I didn't come up with it. And our guest is Jeremy Hardy, which I must say I'm very excited about, because when I first started as a stand-up comedian, Jeremy Hardy was, I think the phrase is the bee's knees. He was small, dark, hairy, and slightly covered in pollen. No, he was really, he was, what one wanted to be, so that's very exciting. I don't mean a socialist revolutionary. I mean, he was a very funny comic and still is, so I'm looking forward to that very much. I shall be straight off after this show.
Are you?
I got a phone call last night. I was needed, so...
Where are you off to?
I'll be off to the BBC Centre.
BBC Paul's Centre?
Yeah, BBC Centre. I'm just trying to remember which part of the BBC I was going to. Yeah, I'm...
what are you doing there?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm being interviewed by Miranda Hart.
Oh, I like her.
Oh, she's great. But I tell you, I'm being interviewed for... You know when you watch someone's show and you get, like, the red dot in the corner of the screen?
Oh, yeah.
And you press the red
Oh, the
dot.
interactive button.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, so when a sitcom starts, you'll press the red dot, or you might not, but you have the option to press the red dot, and then it'll go to her interviewing me. In other words...
Oh.
Why is she interviewing you for her show?
Don't say it so rudely like that, Gareth.
No, but I don't
Pervy,
understand.
disrespectful. What's happened to you?
I suppose you'd rather I did Pamela Anderson in your current mode. No, what do you mean? What, it's just an extra bit?
For her show. So it's her show that's on telly.
Well, she'll interview a different person every
Oh,
week.
I see, okay.
You see?
Yeah.
So, yes, I've reached a point now where I'm doing red dot work. That's how bad stuff has got. I'm not even on the main... You have to manipulate your handset to even get to me.
I'll watch you. I'll press the red button where you're concerned.
You'll interact. All right, we've had enough interaction from you this morning, madam. So anyway, so Jeremy Hardy's on. You can text us on 81215. And
Emily's on webcam number 3 today.
Vote Katie
Gareth.
Weissel, that's what I say. I love
No.
Katie
You love
Weissel.
her, don't you?
I think she's great. Vote for her. Although I have got a bit of a soft spot now for One Direction.
What?
Oh.
Yes.
Wow.
I've discovered... I am informed that the one with the big fringe... I know they've all got a big fringe.
All got a big
No,
fringe.
but he's got a particularly... He looks like he's being clasped by Chewbacca. If you can imagine Chewbacca's holding him on by the
That's
head.
something of a fantasy of mine.
Yeah, is it really?
Yeah.
Gareth. Yeah, apparently he's a season ticket holder at the Bromley Road end.
Chewbacca?
West Bromwich. Not Chewbacca. I wouldn't want to be stood behind him. No, the guy from One Direction is a season ticket holder at West Bromwich Albion. So obviously, I mean, he ain't no Katie Wazel,
No.
but I'm sort of backing him, I guess. And relax.
This is Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Foo Fighters. Foo Fighters, of course, they're a fairly iconic band. Not as iconic as their previous manifestation,
Yeah.
Nirvana. But speaking of iconic bands, guess what I did this week?
I don't know.
Guess what I did?
Does it involve
Guess what I did?
West Bromwich
Does it
Albion?
involve
No.
It usually
An
does.
iconic
It
band.
involves an iconic band.
Oh.
Okay,
Yes.
did you get in a fight with ABBA?
I got a fight with Firm Britain. It was an iconic gastric band. No, I laid down a track. I say I laid down a track with the Fairport Convention.
Oh.
You know Fairport Convention?
I do.
Leaf and Leach and all that.
Gareth doesn't. He's
No, I
pretending
didn't
to.
really
They
Do you
are
know
there.
them?
They are the very godfathers of folk rock.
Yeah, they were folk.
So they said we're doing a song about the ukulele, and it's about the history of the ukulele.
Where does the
It's,
time go?
About.
Sorry, that's not a reflection on the show.
Yeah.
But I liked that
Sorry,
song.
she's preparing a meal in there. In the corner there, just adding the herbs. Gordon Ramsay's he's opened a small restaurant in here. That's all he can afford at the moment.
Oh, he's got nasty.
And I'm
Anyway,
not-
that's
I'm not
another
getting-
story.
He asked me to work as his manager. I wouldn't have anything to do. I don't
My
need-
God, did that hurt? Is that what he said?
We just had a text from him saying that about what Frank just said.
What from?
Yeah, Gordon Ramsay. My God, did that hurt?
Oh, come
That's what
on.
he said.
I think he should have sent an open lettuce. To the next one. That's what. Perhaps that was a mix-up. Send an open lettuce, will you, to the mirror? Not an open letter. Oh, come on, you Ryan.
No, you can't say the words.
No, you can't say the word.
No.
So anyway, I went across to this cottage in Oxfordshire, which is where you want to meet Fairport Convention, because all those, if you look at any of those old folk rock legends, if you read about their albums, there's a fantastic book. If you have any interest in that kind of music at all, there's a book called Electric Eden, which I'd very much recommend. And these bands, like Incredible String Band and Fairport, they always hire a cottage somewhere, and they just go there and they do various things, and they make music, man.
I don't like the sound of the various things.
Well, I didn't want to go into too much detail
Oh,
this
okay.
time of the morning. Some of it involved, things that come in small packets.
Oh.
No, I didn't mean that.
Oh,
either.
okay.
Gareth, don't give me that look. So
Jelly
Rick, the violin player, he's such a sweet. He's one of the sweetest.
What's his name,
blokes I've ever
Rick?
met. Yeah, Rick.
Oh, very 70s musician. I like that.
And now he's brilliant. He wears the ethnic hats. You know the ethnic hats? Small ethnic hat. In fact, we had our photo took at one point. I had my ukulele out, and he said, "Oh, hold on, I'll change my hat." He went off.
Oh, Tommy Cooper.
Yeah, he went off in one ethnic hat and come back in one almost exactly the same, and said, "Oh, that's better." Anyway, so I'll tell you the kind of guy he is. He lives alone, right? And when you get there, you do think there are big pluses. Not that I'd never want to give up my calf. But there are big pluses to living alone when you must know this.
The ethnic hats are just the start of it.
Well, you must have had the odd one left behind.
There's the odd fez,
Maybe on the
the odd
bedpost.
fez lying around.
The odd affairs on the bedpost. Just like that. So, this is what Rick... It was quite cold in his cottage, right? And all he was wearing... I mean, he has, like, jeans, trainers, and he's got, like, a Fairport Convention tour T-shirt on, which is all I've ever really seen him in. And
He's got a box of those in the garage.
I'm guessing. So he said, it's getting a bit cold. So he went off into his room. He'd come back in with a different tour T-shirt over the top of the other one.
Oh, good on him for that.
I thought that was a little insight into his wardrobe. And Bobby Bragg was there.
Billy Bragg.
No, Bobby Bragg.
Oh, sorry. Is that the brother?
Oh, no, not Billy Bragg. Marquis Smith, they once asked Marquis Smith, the lead singer with the Four, in an interview, what frightened him, and he says, Billy Bragg in a lift. No, Bobby, Bobby, I'll explain about Bobby.
okay.
But we have certain commitments to the advertising business.
gosh.
I'll be back with Bobby Bragg.
This is Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
So I was.
Meanwhile, we're in the cottage
We're
in
in the
Oxford.
cottage in Oxfordshire. The Fairport Convention violinist is at one side wearing
In a fez.
You try saying tutu t-shirts. That'd be a great new. Write that down. I'm always
Tutu
looking for a new
t-shirts.
tongue twister. Tutu t-shirt. So anyway, Bobby Bragg he's a comic, right? And I assume Bobby Bragg is not his real name. This is in the days when comics always used to change their names.
Hang on, why was Bobby Bragg there then?
He's a mate. See, he's a mate.
Oh, anyone just turns up.
Well, he used to be the warm-up on a TV show I used to do, so I know him from that, and then it all comes together. He's got great stories. He was on a cruise once with Bert Weedon. You know Bert Weedon, Tune a Day? He wrote the great guitar tutor that the Beatles and everyone learned from.
Oh, okay.
And,
Oh, yes, I have heard of that, yeah.
Bert Weedon. And they were on... so this is the kind of story Bobby has. He said, we're in the middle of nowhere, he says. Bert Weedon comes in and says, I've just seen a bloke go past on a lilo. They're in, like, the middle of the ocean. And it was a dead person.
Oh, God.
And it was... apparently they used to... it was a kind of a funereal rite in the Pacific Islands. Is they'd put them on a raft and just let them go. And they just thought it was cheaper with the lilo, so they put there's dead bodies going past on lilos. Oh. I don't know if they had the cocktail with the umbrella. Let's hope not. Anyway, so that was... We went there, and... Have you ever thought about changing your name, Gareth?
I have thought... My mum said that if I wanted to change my name, it would be okay.
Nice.
I think you should...
I think
stand
she's
by
right.
it.
Was that a hint?
Yeah. Was that what you call regret, maybe, in her
Yeah,
voice?
if you don't want to drag our family into the mire, that's fine. And did you consider
Yeah,
it?
no, I'm quite attached to it.
Oh.
I did, that thing where I joined Spotlight to try and get acting jobs and never have.
That's an actor's directory.
Yeah, it's an actor's
Yes,
directory.
it's not a thing for thin dogs.
No.
And for that, I had to change my name because there was already a Gareth Richards. So what I did was my middle name is John, so I hyphenated. So in that, my name is Gareth John Richards.
Where's the
That's
hyphen?
horrible.
Between John and Richards.
Gareth John Richards. Oh no, I don't like that.
That is horrible.
Also, there was a bloke used to play up front for the Wolves,
Right.
called John Richards, and it sounds like you've deliberately tried to model yourself
My
on
dad's called John Richards.
that. Is he?
But why would you
that's
He
hyphenate?
used to be
Gareth-
Ramwick Wolves.
Also, 3 first names. What the hell's going on there?
Gareth John Richards.
Yeah, I don't like it,
No,
Frank.
it
I don't like it one bit.
You could have gone for the initial in the middle, couldn't you? Gareth J. Richards, as in the Stephen
No, you
K.
can't do
Amos.
that. No,
You can't do that?
No, they don't.
Why are you
about-
making up the rules? You can't do that.
No, that was what they told us. We said that. Wasn't
Hasn't
allowed.
stopped Stephen K. Amos, that's all I'm saying.
No.
He shortened that Kenrick and he did it well. I don't know if it was Kenrick, but it
No,
might well have been.
that's how. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was claustrophobia. I don't know why I said that, but I did. Have we had any texts? Yeah, I'm worried that we
No, they are.
We haven't
They
got
do
the
lo-
power on.
Well,
we
they-
forgot to put the power on.
We've had a couple. We've had Bring Back the Robot Newsreader.
Yeah, I don't think we can comment on the newsreader. But when I said BBC Centre, I think that's because I was listening to the newsreader who felt like he was reading it all from fridge magnets. You know those fridge magnets when you could do poetry with? He
Yeah.
just did a word at a time. I'm
Very
sure he's a lovely
staccato.
bloke. Don't get me wrong. You can text us on 8 12 15 in case you've forgotten. I fear they've forgotten.
We had a text from somebody called Jill, and it says re-flash frames incidents as an addendum.
I should
to a
explain
text-
that we were talking, I think it was last week, about when you're going out with someone, it's just starting to go out, and they say or do something, it's like a little flash frame, and you think, oh no, it's not going to work for us.
I wanted to mention that apart from wedding bands, I can't bear jewellery on men. I'm sure Emily will back me up on that. Wedding band? No,
I'll back
like,
you up to the hill.
If a man's got a wedding band, surely that means that you can't be interested in him.
Well, it hasn't stopped you this morning. I actually had a tweet in
I'm
on
not
this
a man with a
subject.
wedding band.
Can I say that before? I have been very much affected. Many years ago, I was watching Laverne and Shirley. Do you remember that
Oh,
TV
yes,
program? It's a
I do.
spin-off from Happy Days. And Shirley, I think, whoever was the redhead, said, I think that was Shirley, she said, never trust a man in a pinky ring. Right? A pinky being a little finger in America. Never trust a man with a pinky ring would be, what do you mean? Yeah, and you know, if ever I see a man now with a ring on his little finger, I always think, be careful. Can you believe my approach to people has been affected by something, a throwaway remark at Laverne and Shirley? Before we come to this, I'm going to have to play some music.
Okay.
Because I feel from your anticipation it's something good. Yes. Something tells me I'm into something good. Eh? Eh? Herman's Hermits. I say Herman's Hermits.
This is Frank Skinner
Absolute.
Radio.
So I got this tweet this week from someone called Tristan Rosenfeld. I rather like the sound of him.
Yes, I like the sound of Tristan Rosenfeld. Wasn't he in an Oscar Wilde short story?
Well, that's what I thought. He sounds nice. He sounds like he might have a pinky, though. He might be posh and cruel.
He might be, yeah.
Yeah. My perfect man. Tristan says he had his flash frame moment.
I think it depends on the balance, doesn't it? I think you see posh on one side and crude on the other, and there has to be a little bit more posh to make it
Well,
work.
exactly, to make it worth your while.
Yeah,
Weren't they
exactly.
Spice Girls? I loved Cruel Spice.
Cruel Spice would have been great.
That would have been my moniker if I'd have been in that band.
Oh, if she'd have just come on and during the course of the thing gradually hacked their head off a Pekingese. Can you imagine that?
So anyway, back with Tristan.
Yeah.
Tristan says, flash frame moment when Emily called the Bon Jovi track Wanted rather than Wanted Dead or Alive on this week's show.
Oh no! So obviously he had a soft spot for you, and that spoilt it.
Not anymore.
Oh,
I feel like some
Yeah.
terrible old mum. That
I
is.
think the flash frame for him then was when he corrected you for getting a Bon Jovi song wrong, though. Corrected, that's not good.
Oh, that's true.
I think we should maybe have a small seminar about that. Shall we workshop it?
Sorry, I'm very under a lot of pressure with the tribunal that Emily's bringing against me.
Well, is that your statement? I'm very under a lot of pressure. Good luck.
I've got a lot of forms to fill
Gordon
in.
Ramsay's open letter.
I was reading about the scientists in the science. You know, the scientists.
Oh, yeah.
The boffins.
Oh, yeah. The boffins.
They were a good name for a band, the Boffins. I'll write that down next to the tongue. Oh, I'll put it in the tongue twister section. The Boffins, as if that would pose any problems, tongue twister wise. Anyway, it's written. Yeah, they were saying that they might have got it wrong about when life started on Earth. That it might have been a bit earlier than they thought, and they think they're 400 million years out. Now, if in any other profession. If Phil the Power Taylor was missing by those kind of margins.
If I was 400 million years late for one of our meetings...
Yes.
I was yesterday.
You were pushing 400 million years late. Yeah, I'd certainly evolved during the time I sat in the restaurant. Anyway, so I was thinking about things that I've been wrong about for a long time. You know, you can.
Oh, I like this
You
subject.
can have what you think you really know, and then you really one day you think, I was absolutely certain.
Now, what sort of thing?
Well, par exemple, I was utterly convinced for years, and I think this is something that a lot of people suffer with, that when you talked about the human bone thing, when it's all joined together and forms a sort of a...
Skeleton.
Yeah, Skellington, you see.
Right.
I called it Skellington until I was about 46. And somebody eventually said to me, because he said, first of all, I hung around with a lot of people who also called it Skellington, so nobody was going to correct me.
Did you seriously say Skellington?
Always said Skellington, and then, of course, when I started going to telly, I mixed with a lot of sophisticated people who knew it wasn't Skellington, but they were too frightened to say anything because now I had massive power. So they left me to my ignorance, and eventually some brave person said, that's skeleton. And I said, no, I think you'll find it skeleton. I mean, I fought for it. That was a terrible thing.
Oh, it's when you fight for it.
Oh, I mean, I had a thing with. I was at number 10 Downing Street.
God!
A good start to any. I broke in. No, I hadn't.
That's a good place to admit you've done something wrong.
Yes. Very few inhabitants do, but I was at number 10 Downing Street, and I've got time for this story. I'll say it quickly. It was a charity do. Cherie was there, and Tony Blair. And Tony Blair said there was a painting of Brian Rix. You know, Brian Rix used to be
the
comedy
theatre
actor.
impresario.
Well, he was in farces.
He was a theatre impresario as well.
Yes, I know. So anyway, I I said, "Oh, Brian Riggs." He said, "Yeah." He said he was here the other night. I said, "I don't think he was."
Oh, Frank!
He said, "No, he was here. He was here in front." I said, "No, he's dead." And Tony Blair, who was the Prime Minister, said, no, he was here the other night. And I said, "Look, obviously I don't want to argue with the Prime Minister, but I'm telling you, he is dead." And he said, "Frank, he was here."
I can't believe you had an argument with Tony Blair.
I had a small hiatus where I thought, "Oh, he called me Frank."
Did he say
And then-
look? Did he say look?
And he said, no, but he said, honestly, he said, I met him. I said, that'd be his son. His son has taken over the reins in the charity. He said, no, it was Brian. I said, I'm sorry, I know for a fact he's dead. You know, you meet a lot of people. It's understandable. He goes, no. So anyway, I went home and looked it up, and of course he's alive.
Oh. And as if Tony Blair would ever lie about anything.
Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous.
You're listening to Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio, the softest, mintiest show in town. Sponsored by Tree Bar Soft Mints.
Absolute Radio.
The thing was, though, Brandon Flowers, Crossfire, the thing was that, you know, sometimes when you're arguing with someone and they contradict you, you have a bit of doubt, even if you're really convinced. I didn't have any doubt. And I thought, I'm going to hammer it home, because I thought then, when he finds out that Brian Riggs is dead, he'll think, oh, bloody hell. Oops. Oh, terribly sorry, I swore on air. Please forgive me, anyone.
Are we not
else.
allowed to say that?
I don't think... Hold on.
Have a
We
look.
are. Oh, God, that's good. Phew. So,
Well, and you didn't get in touch and say, "Oh, you were right about that."
no, I didn't do that.
Well, that's what's made him so stubborn about the Iraq War.
Do you think?
He thinks, well, Frank Skinner's not going to admit
Yeah,
that.
but
no.
I thought we'll find out that I was right and he was wrong, and probably offer me, you know, some sort of, you know, something minor, a minister without portfolio, nothing big, but something like that, an Alan Sugar type of capacity. Anyway, I was wrong, and I think Brian Riggs is still alive. God, come on, get a move on. So, so if you were ever wrong about anything for a long time, and then, or absolutely convinced, and then found out you'd been wrong, text us.
On 8/12/15.
On 8/12/15.
And Frank, I had one of those the other week. Don't you remember? Because I said we were talking about we were talking about Nigel Havers.
Oh, yeah.
And I said he's dead, in a very emphatic, pompous
I took
way.
your word for you. Said
Yeah.
it so emphatically, I thought, oh, God, he's dead.
It's
Yeah.
probably made you question everything else I said, because I was absolutely convinced. I said, he's dead, of course he's dead. And then next week, there he is in his red fleece and his hat with corks on it, about to go into I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. The shame!
I mean, how low can you get to taking dead people up then? This is a variation. This is when one of the guests is going to be eaten by insects rather than the other way around. They're going to empty his decaying corpse out of a body bag into some cockroaches. Sorry if you're having your Cocoa Pops this time of the day. We should change the subject on that one. I had a terrible thing with John Pertwee, you see.
Oh.
I was doing a TV show, and I always find at the end of the year, you know, when you read something, you get like the Sunday Times review of the year, and I always look through, it says, you know, we lost them this year, and there's famous people who died. And there's always a few surprises for me. I think, oh, God, I never knew that. And, of course, they're the people who died while I was on holiday.
Oh.
Because I wasn't looking at the English papers. Anyway, I'd just been away on holiday. I come back, did a TV show, and I did a joke about finding John Pertwee in my boot. I can't remember what the joke was based on, but he died that week. I had no idea. And the whole audience went, oh. And I thought, weren't that bad a joke? Anyway, he's still dead, in case you're wondering.
I didn't know that Paula Yates had died. Like, I just didn't know she...
When did you find out?
I think I mentioned to her in passing. I think someone was talking about something, and I said, "Oh, I wonder what she's doing now."
Oh, my
And-
God.
Well, like, in your
You
family,
missed
they
it.
probably thought it was a mulling over the afterlife. So when did you realise she died?
Just like probably a couple of months ago.
Oh, my God.
That's good that you're doing a topical radio show, then. Respect.
We've had Alistair's just texted him
Of
from
course,
Dubai.
John Pertwee turned into Tom Baker, so he's
Well, he
not
did,
really dead.
eventually. Alistair in Dubai says, I was convinced that baked beans were made out of potato until I was 18. I used to argue this very strongly.
That's the key, is to stick with it, to believe.
Yeah.
We only have this extra. This is Frank Skinner
Absolute
Radio.
an old-fashioned fade. I like an old-fashioned fade. That was Martha and the Muffins. Yeah.
We've had loads of texts in, Frank.
Speaking of muffins,
Yeah.
for 7 years my partner thought, because we're talking
You know, my
about...
heart was in my mouth.
The way he's behaving this
I
morning.
know, yeah.
we,
You dirty old man.
we're talking about getting things wrong, aren't we? For 7 years my partner thought it was a beef burger and a sausage McMuffin. He's actually said McMuffin,
Oh,
like Skellington.
yeah, so he wants to watch it, taking the mickey out of his partner's house.
Yeah. Get your own house in order, mate.
Get your muffing. You know, actually, the McMuffin I'm worried about now. There's a G on the end.
Oh,
Move on.
Move on.
Did that from Dean in Middlesbrough.
Move on.
Hold
Hold on. So how did he find... Who sorted it?
He went on the internet to prove her wrong.
That's the modern age,
Oh.
isn't it? So they sort out their arguments.
Do you know what I do, guys? Do you ever do this? I recently had an argument with my sister about whether blue eyes or brown eyes were the recessive gene or dominant one.
I'm always...
Whoa.
We had a terrible argument, and I was going, no, I think you're fine. And as I was doing it, I was Googling, I was on Wikipedia finding it out so that I could prove her wrong. She was right.
Yeah, well, what does that say about
We haven't spoken
you?
since. Anyway,
My wife thinks all rivers flow south since school, but they said downhill. She thinks...
Oh, I see. Oh, I don't think that would be a problem necessarily to be... Could you get your kayak out and find you're going in the wrong... No.
Bridget has
Ridiculous.
texted in to say, I was absolutely convinced that Breakfast at Tiffany's with Audrey Hepburn was a remake and the original was with Tuesday Weld, proclaiming in a snooty manner to my unconvinced husband, I think you're fine. Or you always say, I think you're fine as
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
I love that.
I think I said that to Tony Blair when I was arguing about Rixie, as I now call him. I can be a bit more disrespectful knowing he's alive.
This is a controversial one.
Hold on, let's get relaxed.
Oh, God. I feel sick. I feel sick with stress.
I only found out the other day. No, my lawyers have looked at it. It's fine.
Yeah, because I really rely on your lawyers.
So
Oh God, I thought Ruth. We got the telly
Are
on.
you watching the telly?
It's on
We're doing
it's
a
on
radio
mute. It's on
show.
mute.
just amuse yourself.
No, but
you
a
know.
picture of Ruth Maddock come up, and I thought, oh God, Ruth Maddock's died. But they're just talking about Pontins.
No, it's just quite pale makeup.
No. Well, I didn't think they were showing the corpse. For goodness sake.
I only found out the other day that Allen keys
Good morning, mourners.
are actually...
Good camping mourners, perhaps it should be.
that Allen keys, ALAN, are
Is that
actually
what they said at
called...
Versace's funeral?
Frank.
Good camping mourners. Go on, carry on.
I only found out the other day that Allen keys are actually alum keys. I think the confusion may have result from my dad being called Alan, Lauren, age 30.
Called Alan. My dad called it Alan Keys.
But no, it is actually, I've looked on the internet and there's some confusion about this because you can find both versions. So I think it is Alan, as in ALLEN.
Is he?
But I thought maybe it was aluminium. That's why it was alum.
I thought it was named after Alum Rock, the area of Birmingham.
This is the best debate we've ever had.
I feel a thriving and throbbing phoning is imminent based on the Alum Key debate.
Any
It's not
workmen
talked about-
listening, can they text in, Frank?
You know, you wouldn't get this, would you, on the Today programme? The old Alum Key debate?
No.
To hell with it.
Maybe the one show.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be a VT. It'd be a special VT. The history of the Alum Key. There'd be Phil Toffnell at the Alum Key Museum in Stockport. Yeah. And then they'd hold up those pictures. I don't like it when they hold up, you know, those colour photocopies they mount on cardboard and hold up.
I don't like a mounted copy.
Because there's always a bobble from where it's been
There's
stopped.
always a bubble. Some researcher's been assigned the task.
Weird.
Frank on
Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
So Jeremy Hardy has joined us in the studio. Good morning. Good morning. Now, I don't wish to embarrass you or make you sound old, but when I started being a stand-up comedian, you were the man that we all kind of wanted to be.
Really? Oh, God.
Yeah, because you were the real archetype. Where you were on telly, which not many comics of our kind were at the time. It was all sort of Bobby Davro and Cannon
Bits
and Ball.
of telly I did.
Yeah.
I never did masses of telly.
But you were, you're a legendary figure, I think it's fair to say. So I'm very happy to have you on.
I've been around a very long time.
Yeah, but, and you're still at it, which is brilliant, because some of us slightly fall off the wagon and then get back on. But stand-up has been at the centre of your universe, I think it's fair
I've
to
just
say.
trudged around the country for 27 years, endlessly.
Can you sound like you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's great fun, especially sitting on a train, struggling back late at night, and finding there's no tube when you get in, and you've had no tea and you're cold. And
Believe me, it's a great life for anyone who's listening. So you're currently on tour?
I am tomorrow. Oh, tonight I'm in Folkestone. And then tomorrow I haven't a clue dates, which I'm also doing, because we're touring that as a theatre show.
In case any of our listeners don't know, I'm sorry, I haven't a clue. They will have known, because they might not have heard it.
It's very hard to explain. It was the original deconstructed panel show. It's been going for nearly 40 years, and it was the first, because panel shows used to be polite games on the BBC Home Service, and something like Just a Minute was all very, very serious. And then Clue was the first one that busted it all open. And so many things now are based on rounds of Clue, and things have been nicked off of
I
us.
love that you call it Clue. Can I just say that?
I know.
It reminds me, I was in the Fools and Horses office once, and the phone went, and the director went, "Hello, Fools."
Oh.
Yeah. I love it.
Well, they call Have I Got News for You news, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Considering that how much news is on the BBC is quite
Exactly.
quite confusing.
It's quite cheeky,
But
really.
nobody can remember what it's called, because normally when I'm interviewed, people say, yes, and you've been appearing on, I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the programme.
Which does sound like a Channel 4 with a Radio 4 quiz show, doesn't it?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the programme. But you do loads of... I hear you on Radio 4 all
That's
the time.
my demographic, and it's a fragile one. Another harsh winter like we've had, and I'm in real trouble. But, that's my home, really. I mean, I'm getting younger fans, though, coming along. It's been quite exciting recently. It might be Twitter. I've been doing Twitter to try and groom, I believe is the word, younger fans.
I'm not sure that is the word.
I haven't got a Facebook what's the word? Page. It's too early in the morning.
I think Page you should have been all right with.
I was in Page is an easy word.
Yes.
Where was I last night? Didcot I was in last night. In Oxfordshire. They've got a power station there.
Is that right?
Yeah, coal-fired. That's very retro, isn't it?
Are you all right with that? Because I know you are... I think it's fair to say you're fiercely left-wing, is that correct?
Well, yeah, but exhaustedly, fiercely left-wing. Yeah. I think we've lost. But,
Oh...
well, we've won the moral argument, but I think we've probably lost the political argument.
This is quite a big statement from Jeremy Hardy. The left wing has lost.
Well, we have. We can't seem to get anywhere. It's up to the young people to burn down buildings these days. It's quite nice to see their spirit, isn't it?
Can I say that Absolute Radio do not support the burning down of buildings, unless, of course, it's Capital Radio.
My mate,
we're all
I
for.
should say, my mate's a teacher, and he said that some of his lovely sixth formers who are really lovely students ended up on the top of Millbank Tower.
Well, you get caught up in the excitement of it all. One person breaks the window, and everybody else thinks, "Oh well, go on then." And you just sort of, these things have a
It's
bit...
like when I had that shot at Kennedy, I thought, that bloke from the book thing's done it, here I am on the grassy knoll, might as well have a go, the job's done. It's like saying, when people eat meat, it's already dead, you might as well eat it.
Exactly.
There
If
you
it's
go.
already alive, you might as well kill it.
Yes. Jeremy Hardy, 2010.
Yeah.
You're listening to Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Working towards a mintier world with Treebor Soft Mints.
Absolute Radio.
Jeremy Hardy's with us this morning. We were talking about rioting. It's topical, and
Yeah.
you've had the odd protest moment.
Well, the most recent one was when, only about 10 years ago, when they were closing lots of primary schools in Lambeth. They were selling them off to turn them into luxury flats. The lovely old Victorian primary schools that they turn into loft apartments. And we had a protest outside a council meeting in Brixton, and we actually decided to storm it. And we were all sort of parents in our late 30s, but we stormed it, and they said that we'd broken down doors. I think a padlock got damaged in the pushing open of a door. And we stormed into this meeting, but then we didn't know what to do. Like, you're all standing there, and you've disrupted it, and you thought, well, do we hurt somebody? No. Do we sort of unfurl a big flag? We haven't got one. Do we, fashion some crude weapons and decide to hold the building? And then you shuffle around a bit. And then you go. Because we all had, children at home and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I call a protest.
Yeah.
So you tried to trace your family. That's
Yes,
nice, isn't it?
well, I was asked to write a book.
I don't mean
and-
your immediate family. I presume you know where they are.
They're indoors.
Yeah.
But it's quite early still. But, yeah, I was asked to write a book, and I couldn't think what else to do it about, so I did the family tree. Not having been asked to do the programme, I thought I'll do... Because my dad said you should get on the programme, and I thought he meant rehab.
Right.
And I thought, there's no, I can't go on that. They won't ask me, I'm not famous enough.
This is Who Do You Think You Are?
Yeah.
But when
yeah.
they do that, is it true that they research you, and if you're not interesting enough, you don't end
Apparently,
up on
yeah.
it?
People
Well,
get sacked.
Well, I got asked about 6 months ago. They said, would you want to
Did
do
you?
it? And I said, yeah. Because I turned down the second series because I thought it didn't have any legs. I thought, no, it's failing, this programme.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
But anyway, so I said I'd do it, and that was 6 months ago. I haven't heard a thing.
Maybe they found stuff about you.
Yeah, well, yeah. Exactly. 10 Rillington Place. I mean, that's been in the family for years.
I met somebody, this was interesting, I met somebody whose mum arrived in London as an Irish immigrant in the 1950s and went to look for accommodation and went to 10 Rillington Place and met Christie and thought, this bloke's a bit creepy, I don't want to stay here, and didn't.
Good call.
Good, very good call. Yeah.
Google it if you don't know.
Oh, the young people, they know nothing.
They don't know anything about mass
They know
murderers.
nothing.
Yeah, they need to. They
They don't know anything
They're too
about...
busy writing.
Yeah, they know nothing about student grants and things like that. We had it tough with our grants and free education
Yeah,
in
it was
my day.
difficult, yeah.
Yeah.
And you could stay on the dole forever then without being bothered.
I was reading I liked your column in the Times the other day because I conflicted on that. I kind of think that there should be a basic level of income that everyone's entitled to in case you just want to just do nothing, because there's no real harm in doing nothing, is there?
No, it's great because not a lot of people, they want cars and fancy clothes. They wouldn't join in. So it's not like everyone would go on the dole.
No. I mean, there were people who were working when I remember turning up to Brixton Dole office, and there were white vans outside and stuff, and people in overalls going in carrying hods to sign on.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was a guy who used to sign on when I signed on, and he was covered in coal dust. The coal truck would park outside. He'd nip in very quickly, sign on. I mean, he'd leave like sooty marks on the card. You know, I mean, that
I saw someone going into the job centre once, pulling up in a black cab outside, which I thought was rather cool.
I saw Richard Branson claiming disability living allowance yesterday.
You're just topping us now, aren't you?
You win.
I saw the Sultan of Brunei.
Begging.
Yes, actually begging. Actually selling the big issue. Hit the street.
This is Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Snow Patrol spitting games.
What happens at the end? He records it in the bar. Why does he do that?
It's the best place for spitting, I find.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, you can just spit straight into the water and then rinse it all away. It's fine. I can't think of any spitting games. Never very good at that.
Can I get all my
who can
jewellery
spit the
out now
highest?
Jeremy Hardy's gone? I was worried he might judge me because of all my possessions.
So, I'll tell you what I saw. I think it's time for another in our regular series, Objects in Food. For an object in food. Yeah, it's every now and again in the newspapers, a foreign object turns up in food.
Can I hear that again, please?
Okay, they hadn't heard that jingle before.
I love it.
I only did it this morning.
Made my
And
day.
we had
Foreign
Paul-
jingles in show.
We had Paul Robeson in to do it. Quite cheap. For an object in food. Yeah, and
You
it's
know what? I thought
operatic.
Paul Robeson had died.
Yes.
Is he not? Oh dear.
Oh, well, you see, I'm sure he's alive. Anyway, so this week it was the J cloth in the sliced loaf.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, now, I always like to give them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, obviously, what you'd think is someone is, they may be just wiping it in the area of the dough tray. And then they think, hold on, where have I put... Yeah, but I think it might be a sort of a deliberately added gift. Because I often find after a sandwich, I want to dab the corners of my mouth, maybe go over a work surface,
Well, a lot of crumbs from a loaf of bread need to wipe up afterwards.
Oh, so it's a free gift, an internal free gift.
Well, imagine
Like a Kinder Surprise.
Imagine the treat of you're having that sandwich and thinking, I'm making a right... oh, look! I don't even have to get out of my seat. Here is a J-cloth. I think...
Or maybe, Frank, one of the bakers... And when I say bakers, I think it was sort of an in-store bakery. I see white wellies and maybe a net hat. Do you know what I mean? I think maybe he was an experimental chef in the kind of Heston Blumenthal vein and thought he was trying it out and just thought, try the J-cloth in the bread, might be nice. Didn't work out, no one liked it, but at least he had a go.
I think there's a loaf somewhere else with a bottle of Dettol in. Because they often go so. You know, when you said the white Wellingtons and the hair,
Yeah.
I immediately thought Margaret Thatcher. I think every trip she did, every sort of walkabout, was always in a factory where she had to wear a hairnet and a white overall and white Wellingtons.
Yeah.
Maybe she was just a baker on the side. I once found an osprey in a mint aero. And I was fine with it. But on the sliced bread front, do you eat the crusts of a slice?
Yes, I do eat the crust.
You see, I see the crust, I must admit, as no more than a lid. I lift the crust, I take the uncrusted bread from underneath it, and then I carry on like that. So the crust gradually... What happens is
Are
the
you
two
referring to the top and bottom? They're not really the crust. The crust are the bit around the side.
What?
Well, I'm talking about the
Hold
crust,
on.
Julie. The end bits.
All around the... Are you talking about... Are you talking about like a whole loaf that has not yet been sliced?
No, I'm talking about a slice loaf.
slice,
The two
okay.
slices at either end. They're all crust, aren't they, more or less?
Oh,
Yes.
I see. Okay.
Oh,
Do you
yes.
eat those?
Oh, no.
You don't eat those?
No.
Well, why
Those
do
are
you-
my favourite bits.
No, you don't. Well, you can have
Crusts.
mine. I'll bring some in.
They don't quite fit in the toaster, and that's why I
No,
like them.
That's another annoying thing about them. They have a sort of a lip around the end, and they're
I
caused by
love
the
them.
the natural curvature of the crust.
Emily likes the upper crust. I think I've done that joke before.
Have you?
Have we been talking about loaves of bread before?
Oh, I think we talk about loaves of bread every 2 or 3 weeks. Who wouldn't? Well, it's the best thing since... Oh.
This is Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Did you see Wayne Rooney's wash bag this week?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you know how footballers are always
I
photographed?
think I'm a bit young for him.
They've always
aren't I?
got... They've always got... well, a little bit. Borderline. She, you know when you see footballers, their hair's always slightly wet and they've got a wash bag under their...
Or as Daisy
shoulder.
calls them, footballers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he had the wash bag, and it was a picture of him and Kai, his child.
No woman, no Kai. I know, yeah.
Exactly. And the thing is that footballers have got that thing of, if they win a trophy, you get the kids on the pitch. I'm not happy with it.
Why not?
I'm all for, I love children, etc. I have no children of my own. Yes, for I am barren. But,
We forgot, Frank. We can't help it.
yes,
We had a lot to do.
some people have got children, Gareth. Some
got
people
child,
haven't.
yeah.
Emily
Yeah,
and me.
we haven't.
But, I
I'm
don't...
wearing mine as a brooch today. Do
Are
you
you?
like it? Yeah, no, look, in the
Did
cardigan.
you shrink it in an oven like some sort of crisp packet? Anyway,
Why did you say crisp packet like Hannibal Lecter?
I don't know, I associate Hannibal Lecter with snack food.
Now I'm going to shrink my crisp packets.
Yeah, well, I've heard some terms for it, Hannibal. No laugh. You can't tell with a hockey mask. So anyway, when you see people carrying their child on their shoulders, that to me, it's always a bloke got the child on the
Oh,
shoulders.
it's always a bloke.
They're basically saying, yes, I'm fertile. Right, that's what it's all about. It's like
Trophy
a
children.
It's like a badge of honour.
It really is.
And is it safe? Should they not be wearing a small
Well, it's
helmet or
funny you should
harness?
say that, Frank Skinner, because accidents will happen, and they did happen. My father, we were in a forest in Hamburg. My father put me on his
It's
shoulders.
like a fairy tale.
It was no fairy tale. It was no picnic. He went running at full pelt. I went flying. Designer clothes ruined. The face wasn't in great shape either. My mother wasn't best pleased.
Well, that'd be a warning to anyone who's listening.
Why was he running in a forest in Hamburg?
Let's not go into that.
Yeah, it's the war on at the time. Anyway, I was... he said it's an episode of Cold It. Well, I don't have children, but I have got a lovely 2-year-old Weimaraner. I carried it around sitting on my shoulders through Birmingham town centre, and people were
Weimaraner.
just grimacing. There's the cries of unhygienic. I mean, mind your own
Weimaraner.
business, I
I
say.
don't know what a Weimaraner is.
You don't know what a Weimaraner is?
Oh, it's
no.
a dog. Sort of dog.
There you go.
Oh,
The
God.
joke with a slightly late footnote. So next week, our guest is Rhys Shearsmith. who we've had on before, I believe.
Oh, he's one of my favourites.
Is he a friend of the show?
He's a friend of the show. Not everyone is, but he is.
Listen to Not the Weekend podcast on Wednesday, which is us doing new stuff. Ben Jones is on next. Ben Jones has Elton John tickets to give away.
What did he do to get those?
Well, I think what he did, he bought them a few months in advance, and he found he had something else on that night, and he thought eBay or just give them away on the radio show.
Oh.
So, yeah, there's a rumour going around that he's going to be the 5th judge on the X Factor.
Really?
Yeah, I don't want to, I'm not one to gossip, but I'm quite excited. We've all been a lot friendlier to him since that came out, can I just say that? So, Ben will be along in a minute. Thank you for listening. Good day to you.
You're listening to Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Treebor Soft Mints, bringing a softer, mintier feel to your Saturday morning.
Absolute.